People born before the 2000s. How do you feel about the way the world has changed? I was born in 1986, just turned 38 less than 2 weeks ago. Life was so much simpler. When I was trying to get the best of 3 jump ropes at recess, and not remember the 8,000 passwords I have to have just to function in modern society. Even as a high school student 2004, would I have imagined seeing so much content on the internet? Hell, it took my first computer 5 times as long to just access the internet than it did for me to write this comment. The fact that a half dozen or so mostly white men can go before the US Congress and whine like children about how their apps don't hurt people. I think social media has made the world better. If you use it wisely and don't become its slave, everything is so much more accessible. You can easily travel the world, speak to people for free all over the world, work remotely. It's great. Lots more entertainment that's easily accessible. Online shopping, greater ranges of products. Cars are also better. In the 70s, it wasn't uncommon to see multiple cars broken down on the side of the road in hot weather. That's something that rarely happens now. Not everything is better, of course, but so much is. People complain too much. I was 5'6" when 2000 rolled around. Don't remember much, and I guarantee what. People who have lived longer than I have lived, through shit periods of time where it seemed like it was the end. Nowadays, you have social media and shit news channels pushing random shit, which makes it a bigger deal more often than not. In 100 years, it'll be the same. In 1,000 years, it'll be the same. Regardless of war, humans will survive and try to make something different than the past, but we will fall back where we are, and someone will ask this same question again. I'm depressed half the year and scared for my life in the other half during the fire season. I feel like we're entering a bleak period of humanity that's not going to get better for a lifetime. It's like we're in the Mad Max 1 phase of things where society is starting to unravel. Food is expensive. Housing is expensive. Proper healthcare is borderline inaccessible. Homelessness camps are becoming a thing again. And the police all have their hands tied as crime is going rampant. I fucking hate it. I grew up when it was cool to queer bash and hate on gay people, and I saw so much progress toward acceptance and normalization. Same with casual racism and sexism. Now it feels like we're backsliding. Think technology has been used for all the wrong things, and the centralization and commodification of the internet has turned it into a censorship hell, whole run by the whims of wealthy investors. I don't hate everything, but good God, did things look like they were getting better for a while, and now they're just awful. A lot of things are better. Lots of people are safer. Beer is better. Automatic windows are dope. Ads of things are worse. The internet is a dumpster fire of ads and fake content, when it used to be cool, and the world is imploding on several dimensions, many of which seem to be climate change driven. Born 1980, as should be obvious, never gained an understanding of the world until the 90s. I can definitely point out some major changes, such as the medium I am using now. If I had to summarize the changes I have seen, it's a classic some good, some bad. I don't believe in any kind of historical teleology. I think society changes, but the results aren't geared towards a higher or lesser goal. It makes me happy that my LGBT friends can be more open now, less happy about the acceleration of climate change effects. I have lived since the baby boomers were in charge. In that time, baby boomers have continued to be in charge. Gradually now, the time when baby boomers weren't in charge is coming. They have not done well with their power and their responsibility. Can we really expect the people they raised not to follow in their footsteps? We needed elders who planted trees in which the shade thereof they would not sit. It feels like they've held off as long as they could to plant much more than decorative shrubberies. Not great. The internet, the most amazingly wonderful of inventions, has destroyed interpersonal connectedness. Nobody remembers how to think and reason anymore. including us pre-internet fossils. Since it's so much more easier to Google an answer, I can feel my brain getting stupider with every passing year. Oh, and the planet is on fire. Weather has crossed a tipping point. Lord only knows how those chips will fall, but they will no longer fall in the places equipped to deal with them. TL drive not great. People are more self-centered. 3 generations of post-me boomer culture have cemented this. People are more into flash in the pan fame. Instagram, Snap, TikTok, yes, it existed before, but social media magnified it. People are too sucked into their screens and not enjoying the moment. Goes back to the point above. People seem to get more gratification for the likes on their post for an event more than the event itself. People have learned to distrust those in power. Well, some of them. It is so much worse. It feels quite hopeless today. The idea of oligopoly, or the absolute control of a few very rich, stupid, but well-placed people seemed impossible in the 1990s. The idea of America, or really any Western nation being attacked or at risk, was impossible. The Cold War had just ended and technology all looked promising and friendly. Everything is a threat now. Everything is broken, run down, controlling, invading privacy, and leeching money. It feels so empty now. Everything's gone to shit, but in a way that's been accelerated from how it was already going to shit. We were already staring down a post-Reagan government and elimination of a true fight for the emancipation of disenfranchised peoples, which went the way of JFK and arguably on the same day, but still. There was this hope in the 90s that was extinguished on 9/11. The recession following the repeal of the Glass-Steagall Act accelerated every single way. Neoliberalism makes shit worse. I think too many people are worrying about what is happening somewhere else rather than paying attention the place they actually live. I think people are always on these days, and they don't disconnect and just be in the moment much at all. Kids don't explore like they did back then. People don't spend actual time together as much as they did back then. I think there has been a lot of good that has come along, but I think there is much that has been lost too. It's a mixed bag. I like tech. I dislike how we merge with our phones and image-based social media, say Instagram. I used to like the ones where I felt like there were communities, and we used mainly to talk to people or walk it. Whenever I think about it, I'm still amazed. Dude, in 2003 if I managed to download with my dial-up connection with more than 10 kbps, I'd be so fucking happy. Now I play it a 2. A game that is 10 times bigger than one HD I had. I liked a small world it quite though. Imagine a world where terrorist attacks and school shooting were rare. Weeks of round-the-clock coverage and vigils. You could walk your family member to their plane or greet them when they flew in. People had cell phones, but they weren't common. No internet and often no internal contact list. If someone wasn't home, you just didn't have a way to contact them unless they had a pager. You'd have to wait for them to call or call back when they got home or to work, school. Able socially and politically due to the breakdown of social connections that no longer exist. Years of declining education and everyone getting separate information on the internet and targeted media. Most adults are overweight or obese, where in the past it was the norm to be thin. But kids are nicer. Cars and movies are better. I feel that things in general have changed for the worse, that my own life is turning out better than I expected. Nothing changes cause it's all the same. The world you get's the one you give away. It all just happens again way down the line, the offspring. It's not really that different. How we perceive the world around us has gotten much more high fidelity, and as a result it feels much more terrifying. Ignorance, after all, is bliss. Things got better for some, worse for others. The same vacillations back and forth. History may not repeat, but it always rhymes. We have crossed a point of no return. Living with ubiquitous technology has improved our lives in many respects, but also forever changed it. There are several arguments for and against and whether there is an overall negative impact, but that's up to debate. However, the area where I think technology has had a very negative impact is on children specifically. It's not normal how kids are growing up on social media and playing predatory casino games. Ignorance of the truth is rampant. There's no way to really tell who is on whose payroll. The education system is almost completely screwed. but colleges are making more money than ever. There are too many people getting offended by everyone else's actions while being completely intolerant of other people's beliefs themselves. To top it all, if we had a plague again, we are doomed. 40 years of existence, and this is the end. It feels like civilization is relearning how to act. This entirely new information space has really upset the rule of law and societal boundaries between family, work, and government. The world was turned upside down when inexpensive mass printing became available and fueled the rise of Nazis, communism, etc. Now, it's far more chaotic, with individuals pretending to take part in organized movements. But in reality, it's a hot mess. It feels like we're on a bell curve of some sort. Technology and innovation improved, so we became brighter. Then it improved, so we became brighter still. And it improved. We became brighter still. And then it improved to a point where you don't have to be particularly bright, since technology can make up the difference. It feels like we've passed the top of that pell. As for when that occurred, that's up for debate. I'm not sure, but I always left like there was a time in the early 2000s that seemed perfect, but somehow, somewhere in between that period of time to now, we're now at the point of no return. Whether it's technology, internet phones, games, dumbing down people, myself included, war, and other things, it feels like everything has been a decline in terms of quality of life. I just don't know when it all began.